Hello everyone, my name is Mark, I'm your driver, and today we are going for a spin in this. It is the 2012 Toyota Yaris Automatic. It has the 1UZ FE, naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine. It makes in this application 106 horsepower and a breathtaking 103 pound-feet of torque. So no, it's not going to be very fast, but it is going to be very fuel efficient. And what else? It's not going to break. That is what Toyotas do well, in my mind. Some might consider that to make them slightly one-dimensional vehicles, but they do one thing and they do it very, very well, and that is stick around. So this is one of those cars I have, regardless of the features or how it drives, this is a car, without even driving it, that I can recommend to absolutely anyone, because I simply know that this car is going to outlive whoever the owner is. So if you're someone that doesn't necessarily need heated and cooled seats, a second row of climate, USB-C ports for every person in the car, this is for you. If you don't need Apple CarPlay, but you do just need Bluetooth audio, this is the car for you. If you're someone who doesn't like subscription services and GPS tracking, this is the car for you. If you just want a car that will run forever reliably and get you from point A to point B, this is it. Let's go take it for a drive. Inside the Toyota Yaris, we've got everything you need and nothing you don't. You've got storage here, here, glove box. You've got big, giant controls for all of your different functions. And if you listen, that's not electronic. That's doing things inside the dashboard, which you don't really see anymore. This, of course, is electronic because that's the fan speed and the air conditioning control, but that's doing actual things. That's quite cool. You've got electronic mirror controls and, of course, no telescoping, but you do get a slight tilt for the steering wheel, which is nice for me because, as I've probably mentioned a million times, I'm quite tall. So let's get this bad boy into drive and not third. And let's see what this Toyota Yaris is like to drive. Setting off in the Toyota Yaris, right off the bat, the tip-in of the throttle is quite sensitive, so it really doesn't take a lot of pressure to get this car moving, which I think, given the low horsepower numbers, is fine. That's probably a pretty big compliment to say that this feels as though it would move itself rapidly. Of course, we'll find that out later, but for the moment, we are just doing what normal people would do in their small city car, which is kind of just putter around neighborhoods, frighten pedestrians, park in small parking spots, brag about your gas mileage, I suppose. And for that, it's quite nice. Although, I am just now noticing that there's no sort of divider here, and because I have giraffe legs, they kind of spill over into the climate control and center console section. Brakes are nice and easy to modulate. Steering's a little bit vague on center, so this area here doesn't do a terrific amount, and then you do kind of get into a little bit more, and it does start to make the turn. But it does weight up nicely once you kind of make it past. Oh, I thought that was the GoPro. It's got beeping. It's not going to keep you in your lane, but it's going to tell you when you're leaving it. Ooh, some nice smooth pavement as we climb up here to around 50. No problem at all. Still reasonably quiet. Although, what were you saying? What speed do you find that it gets quite loud?
Like 100 kilometers an hour is kind of when it starts to like the wind noise starts to become a bit of a problem. But it also kind of depends on the day too, right? Like,
yeah, fair enough. Yeah, you are kind of right around, like 95 to 100. It really kind of picks up. So then if we slow back down to like, even just 90-ish, we're doing all right. And it doesn't feel unstable at all. It doesn't feel like it is gonna pull in any specific direction. It actually feels like it wants to go straight, which is nice from a car with a short wheelbase.
Like, we're on 135 and, it's fine. Like 135 kilometers is still kicking, so.
Well, 135,000 kilometers is, like, in miles, it's not that many.
Yeah.
In terms of, on the, like, lifespan of Toyotas, this car is practically an infant.
Yeah.
It's, like, it's teething still. Like, this car has probably, like, 25 or 30 years left in it.
Yeah.
If you don't do your maintenance.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to dial it up now to about 80 k's an hour. There's a little downshift, and we'll let it get back all sorted right after we're down the hill in its eco mode. We're just going to let it change up, do what it needs to do, and then we're going to see how our overtaking power is. We're going to see what 106 horsepower looks like when pushed to the limit. So we got 80 here. We're going to just Matt Watson style this. 3, 2, 1, go. That produced quite a lot of noise and not very much forward acceleration. The amount of power it has down low is the same as it has up high. It just seems, it just makes more noise. Okay, so really, really, really not fast.
No.
But not everything has to be. I will say the transmission is actually reasonably responsive for it being as old as it is. Granted, it only has 4 speeds to pick from, so it's kind of just like flipping a coin. But it happens quickly enough. I think the speedometer is a little bit optimistic at 140 miles an hour. I think 220 is a bit high for what this could do. I think maybe 100 is where you're really gonna see the end of its acceleration. I mean, at lower speeds, it's reasonably quiet. And it rides pretty well too. Granted, we're not on the worst pavement in the world. We're on pretty smooth stuff, but it's not bad. It doesn't feel like we're getting bounced around. It doesn't feel like the car is at the mercy of whatever potholes lie ahead from the winters prior. It drives like a bigger car than it is, and I mean that in a good way, because sometimes small cars, you get in them and it feels a bit like a paperweight. Feels like maybe a strong gust of wind could toss you out of your lane. But this, I mean, it feels solid. And for people who don't have a huge commute or don't need to do road trips, really long road trips. I mean, this does have cruise control, but I'm not sure that my back would, or actually my right leg would survive that long, just given that I don't really have any support on this side for it. I mean, that's my body type.
It's like hard plastic.
Yeah, it is. But this is soft, which is nice. This is soft. This is hard. This is soft. There's no center armrest, but that's one more thing that won't break. You guys know I'm a huge fan of the Palisade, but it's a 3-row, and as I'm sure you've seen, I drive it like it's not a 3-row, but sometimes it is refreshing to get into a car that is actually smaller and doesn't just feel smaller. It is. And this is nice. It feels like I could just go anywhere, which doesn't really help with the intrusive thoughts, because I think, oh, it's so small, it's so dirty, I could go here. And then we've both made a mess of our pants. But yeah, small cars are fun. We've come to the end of the road, so let's see that small car turning radius. Oh, that's wonderful. This isn't a very wide road either, but... Oh, sorry, I just grazed your thigh there.
Oh boy. What's going on YouTube or
Impact noise, not as bad as I expected for this not being a very heavy or sound deadened car. It only weighs 2,300 pounds, which is, yeah, 2,300 pounds is not a lot. And it feels it. That's why, I mean, yeah, up top the 106 horsepower really doesn't do anything, but when you're just driving it like a normal person would and not a gorilla, the engine just kind of putters away and does its thing, and the car's light enough that really no matter where it is in the rev range, it can always find some forward progress without having to wring it out, which is kind of strange because when you're just sort of at like 1 to 4/10ths, it feels like it's got all the power in the world. Like I can just kind of ease into it, it's not super loud, and I'm at the speed I want to be at. But when you go 10/10ths, it feels like you're waiting an eternity. So I suppose it's a perspective thing, but it feels healthy, which is kind of the fun of these cars, is you just don't have to care about going to the pump. You don't have to care about, oh my god, I'm gonna spend $120 on gas. No, you're gonna spend what, 50?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna put 50 bucks in it. It's gonna last you 2 weeks, and you can drive it like an animal. Got a bit of a corner.
Keep that racing line.
Oh yes. Oh, it really wasn't sure what it was doing there. Foot was hard down and it just was like, what do you want me to do? And then it finally decided, oh, okay, I'll, if we must.
I guess so.
Like, it's fun. You can just floor it everywhere and never get in trouble for it.
Yeah.
So actually, this is not a bad spot just before the incline if we can make it a 0 to 60.
Oh boy.
So I'm going to simply just leave it in drive and just mat it. Was a while.
Yeah.
That was, I'm gonna have to run that back in the editor because mentally I lost count there. You're not supposed to do that in this car.
Yeah.
That's not what it's made for. You're not gonna drive it like me. You're going to refer to the previous use case of driving around town, filling it up with $50 worth of gas every 2 weeks, driving it till it hits 500,000 kilometers, and I don't know, maybe change the oil?
Yeah.
You could.
Yeah.
If you felt so inclined, you could maybe change the oil on it. But that's like, there is some joy in having little frills, because frills are just things that can break.
Yeah. It's not a whole lot of stuff to break on this car.
No, there is not. It's got pretty much a 90s engine, 90s gearbox, and Just some modern mid 2000s connectivity, which no one's gonna complain about Bluetooth. Now that I've just gotten out of the car, we can do final thoughts. And I've got a bit of a shin splint here because the pedals are just a little bit too close to my driving position. Just a little bit too close. So I found that I was having to flex my foot up a lot, and now it's kind of sore. So that's something that you should be aware of if you plan on driving this thing and you're, I don't know, over 5'10". Aside from the shin splint complaint, there is very little that I can find to complain about with this car. Now, with that said, there isn't all that much that's terribly exciting about this car, but like I said before, and I'll say it again, this is not a cheap dopamine hit of a vehicle. This isn't all about the next and greatest and most exciting things that we can bring to automobiles. We don't have connected services that we should be so excited about. This excitement for this car comes from the fact that you don't have to take it in for warranty repairs. You don't have to take it in for service bulletins. You don't have to service it if you don't want to. It's a car that gives you peace of mind because you just know that it's going to last. It's going to be a staple in your family. It's going to be a consistent piece of your life. And in the world we live in, consistency is not a bad thing. So this is the Toyota Yaris. I quite like it. And I'll see you guys in the next one.